of the states that postponed their primary was Ohio. And yesterday, the governor, Mike DeWine, was on the show, and we asked him about this decision. I know you feel that coronavirus should not stop citizens from casting their ballots, but how do you weigh voting with safety right now?
Exactly, and that is on all citizens' minds because we know how important this election is. So what I would propose is actually expanding the mail-in balloting, making it easier for people to vote from home. And actually today, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon and I are putting out a bill, and we've gotten many, many people co-sponsoring it, saying let's make it easier for the states to do this. Let's give them some funding, because we know that election is coming in November, to be able to expand their mail-in ballots and send more of them out and print more of them and make that much more of their voting population. Secondly, some of these states don't have enough poll workers, and as we know, there's a lot of seniors, anyone that's gone to polls know, that work their polls. If this is still going on strong, it may be more dangerous for some of those seniors to be at those polls. So we want to be able to train more poll workers. But the main focus of the bill is to make early voting going on for longer periods of time, because then you'll have less people congregated in one place, and to give the states some funds to expand the early voting. 16 of them now, it's much harder to do, the states, and we'd like them to change their rules so it's easier to do early voting.
Senator, this is Megan again. If Joe Biden secures the nomination, I don't think that Bernie supporters are going to all of a sudden rally around him. I've said that on the show before, that Bernie supporters are some of the nastiest people on social media. They harass people in ugly and sexist ways. How do you think that he will be able to get them on his team? And what do you think Bernie supporters need to understand about Joe Biden that maybe they don't?
I'd say the first is that Bernie, I know him well, and I know he knows what the stakes are here. And if and when he makes that decision that he would endorse Joe Biden, I think that he will do everything to bring his supporters with him. And my proof point is actually what happened in 2018, just 2 years ago, where a lot of our most progressive people in our country, our most liberal people, voted for House candidates and governor candidates in states like Kansas or in Orange County, California. And they voted for people that maybe didn't share their view on everything. Maybe those candidates weren't for Medicare for all, and they were. And we came together as a party because we knew that the mission was bigger than anything that what divided us. And then the second thing, in terms of what they should know about Joe Biden, I think it's what we saw last night. A true leader, someone who has worked for change his whole life, someone who's going to have the back of the American people. And what is so missing in this White House as you just discussed earlier in the show, with the way he's been handling the discussion on this virus, what's so missing? The decency, the dignity that Joe Biden will bring back to the White House. He's someone of great empathy, and I know you know this, Megan, because Joe Biden was a good friend of your dad's. He is someone that will go...
As were you.
Yes, but he's someone that will go that extra mile. I remember a friend of mine whose husband died, and Joe Biden had come to Minnesota and done an event, and when I called to thank him, this is years and years ago, I told him that my friend's husband, who had helped with the event, had suddenly died. It was of a virus, actually, leaving 3 teenage girls. And I said, you know, maybe you can drop her a note or something. It might be nice. Widowed at such a young age. He didn't do that. He said, I want her cell phone. And I go, no, you don't have to do that, Mr. Vice President. He said, yes. And he called my friend while she was driving home from work her first day. He made her pull over on the road, the Vice President of the United States, and made her write down his cell phone on her hand so she could call him whenever it was hard, because he had lost his own family members. That's just a story. No one knew that story till I told it on the show. Well, that's the kind of empathy that he has for people, and I think that came out very clearly last night. So when I go to the supporters of Senator Sanders, when I've been out campaigning for myself, for other people, I always point out that this is such a big mission we're on right now, Senator, to bring our country back to a good place.
Senator, that sounds like a ringing endorsement of Joe Biden. So before we go, one last chance. Biden said on Sunday that he would commit to a woman VP. Are you that woman? Have you had any talks with him?
I am not talking about hypotheticals. No, I have not. I don't think he's talked to anyone about this. But remember, there are great women throughout this country. And no one knows better about being vice president than Joe Biden. He did the job really well with Barack Obama for 8 years. So he'll make that decision. I think right now we're in a crisis. That's why people are turning to him. That's why you saw the voter turnout you did in Arizona and in Florida. Because even though there was a risk to go to vote, a lot of people went to vote.